Everyone talks big right after a breakup. She wanted space. She wanted freedom. She promised you would stay close friends after signing divorce papers. She even smiled while saying it, as if losing a marriage was a casual change. You gave her what she asked for. You stayed polite. You stayed distant. You watched her enjoy her new life while you rebuilt yours alone. But she never expected her best friend to choose your side. They talked. They met for coffee. She checked on you when your ex never did. Then the friendship turned into something deeper. When your ex saw you together, her face told the whole story. She lost far more than a husband. But before I tell you what happened that day, don't forget to subscribe, leave a like, and share your thoughts in the comments. Everyone talks big right after a breakup. People act strong. They brag about freedom. They talk about bright futures without the person who once held their heart. My ex-wife was the loudest voice in that crowd. The day we signed our divorce papers, she hugged me at the courthouse, smiling like it was a birthday party and not the end of a marriage. "We should stay close friends," she said. "No drama, no bitterness. We can talk, hang out, whatever. We're adults," I nodded, even though her words cut deep. I was still bleeding on the inside, and she was handing out polite smiles like nothing happened. We had been married 8 years. 8 years of rent, bills, shared plans, shared bed, shared life. But she was done. She wanted space. She wanted late nights with her friends. She wanted adventure without a wedding band on her finger. So I stepped back. I respected her choice. I removed myself from conversations, from parties, from anything that kept me locked in her orbit. I stopped texting. I stopped calling. I let her go. She didn't like that. 2 weeks after the divorce, she showed up at my new apartment with coffee and a bright grin. "You disappeared," she said. "You asked for space," I replied. "I asked for freedom, not distance." I raised an eyebrow. "Those sound the same." She ignored the jab and walked inside like she still lived there. She sat on the couch and started talking about her new social life. Bars, dinners, old friends, new people. She sounded proud, almost victorious. I stayed quiet and listened. At the end of her story, she leaned back and smiled. "See? We can talk. We're still close, but we weren't close." She dumped her joy on me like I was a waste bin for her excitement. She left once she finished her story and didn't ask a single thing about my life. That became her pattern. She stopped by once or twice a week, never to check on me, only to update me on her new life without me. Every time she left, I felt smaller. After the 3rd week, I stopped letting her in. When she knocked, I talked through the door. When she asked to come in, I told her no. When she laughed and said I was being dramatic, I closed the conversation. She wanted a backup, a comfort pillow, a friendly shadow to remind her she was still important. I refused to be that shadow. Then there was her best friend, Emily. Emily had always been around when we were married. Birthdays, holidays, dinners, movie nights. She was loyal to my wife, or so I thought. The day after I stopped letting my ex in the apartment, Emily reached out. She sent a short text. "You good?" I stared at the screen for a long time. No one had asked me that since the divorce. I replied, "Yeah." She texted again. "That sounds like a lie." I sighed and told the truth. "I'm trying." She offered coffee at a quiet place downtown. I almost said no, but something in her voice gave me comfort. I agreed. When we met, she didn't gossip. She didn't pry. She didn't speak for my ex. She simply listened. I talked more in that 1 hour than I had since the marriage ended. I told her about the nights alone, the pressure in my chest, the gut punch of watching someone I loved walk away like I didn't matter. Emily never interrupted. She didn't soften my pain. She didn't try to cheer me up. She let me hurt. At the end, she said something simple. She threw away something people spend a lifetime trying to find. I looked up. "You really think that?" Emily nodded. "You were loyal. You tried. You stayed." She wanted an audience, not a partner. That hit me deep. We kept meeting. Coffee turned into lunch. Lunch turned into long drives after work. We shared stories, fears, mistakes, hopes. I never expected warmth again. But there it was. She made me feel seen. She made me feel valued. Still, nothing romantic happened. Not even a hug. We were two people healing in the same quiet space, my ex-wife noticed. She showed up again at my apartment, knocking like she owned the place. "I heard you're hanging out with Emily," she said. Arms crossed, she checked on me. I answered, "Something you stopped doing when the divorce was final." Her eyes narrowed. "She's my best friend." "And you are my ex-wife," I said. "You gave up the right to control my life." She tried to step inside. "I blocked her." "What are you afraid of?" I asked. She stuttered. "Nothing. I just think it's strange. You two were never close before. But now she sees who I am. Not who you painted me to be." Her face twisted. "Don't make this a competition." "There is no competition," I said. "You walked away." She left angry. Not sad. Angry. Because someone else saw value in the man she treated like a backup plan. A week later, Emily and I were at a small restaurant near the lake. She looked nervous. "I need to tell you something," she said. "Your ex called me. She told me to stay away from you. She said I was betraying her." My chest tightened. "What did you say?" Emily looked me in the eyes. "I told her she lost the right to make demands. I told her friendship is earned, not owned. And I told her I care about you." Her voice shook on the last sentence. Not fear, emotion. I reached across the table and placed my hand on hers. She didn't pull away. Something changed in that moment. Something deep. Something honest. We sat close, sharing silence that didn't hurt. When the night ended, she walked me to my car. I opened her door. She stepped forward. And without speaking, she kissed me. Not rushed. Not desperate. Soft. Careful. Real. I felt a warmth I thought died. As we pulled apart, she whispered, "I don't want to be a secret." "You won't be," I said. But neither of us knew how fast the truth would explode. Because the next day, my ex-wife saw us together, and her face told everything. The next morning, I woke with a steady pulse in my chest, the kind that only comes when something broken starts to heal. I checked my phone. No angry messages. No unexpected calls. No guilt waiting on the screen. I showered, got dressed, and headed out. The air felt lighter than it had in months. Emily had agreed to meet me again after work. Nothing dramatic. Just dinner. Not secret. Not rushed. Two adults choosing each other without asking for permission. But fate didn't wait for dinner. Around noon, I stopped by a small grocery store near my apartment. I grabbed a basket, moved through the aisles, and turned a corner. There she was, Emily, smile soft. "Eyes warm. You shopping or stalking me?" she teased lightly. "Both," I said. She laughed. It felt like oxygen. We walked together, talking about small things, music, work, plans for the weekend. She grabbed fresh pasta and sauce. I grabbed vegetables and coffee. It felt normal, safe. But when we turned into the next aisle, everything stopped. My ex-wife stood at the far end of the aisle, frozen in place. Her hand clenched around a bottle of wine. Her eyes jumped between us. Our cart, our smiles, our closeness. Emily's breath caught. My ex walked toward us slowly, as if dragging a weight behind her. "So it's true," she said, voice sharp. I stayed calm. "Yes, you two are together?" Emily spoke before I could. "We're getting to know each other," my ex scoffed. "That's what I used to say about him." I looked her in the eyes. "Don't start," she stepped closer. "You're with my best friend?" "You ended the marriage," I said. "You asked for space. You wanted freedom. I gave all of it to you. That doesn't mean you get to date her." "Why not?" I asked. "Name one reason that isn't about control." Her mouth opened, but nothing came out. For the first time since the divorce, she couldn't talk herself into superiority. Her voice cracked. "You were supposed to stay my friend." "I stayed polite," I said. I didn't stay yours. Emily placed a steady hand on my arm. Not hiding, not apologizing. My ex stared at it like it was a knife. You don't even like each other, she snapped. Emily shook her head. You never paid attention. We liked each other more than you realized. You were too busy showing the world how independent you were to notice anyone's feelings but your own. The words silenced the aisle. My ex swallowed hard. So you're replacing me. Replaced is better than discarded, I said. At least she knows what loyalty looks like. Her eyes filled. Not rage this time. Fear. Fear of losing control. Fear of watching someone else give the love she threw away. You're hurting me, she whispered. You hurt me for months, I replied. You wanted freedom. Now you're upset because someone else chose me. She backed up a step. Emily stood taller. We're leaving, Emily said calmly. We walked to the checkout. My ex followed, close enough to hear, too shocked to speak. When the cashier bagged our groceries, Emily took my hand. In public. No fear. No shame. My ex let out a weak breath. So that's it? You two are together now? I turned to her. I don't owe you marriage anymore. And I don't owe you friendship. You walked away. She stayed. For the first time in a long time, she stood silent. When we reached the parking lot, Emily exhaled. She's going to explode. Let her, I said. She doesn't own either of us anymore. I drove Emily home. She placed the groceries on her counter, turned to me, and spoke in a trembling voice. I didn't expect to feel this way. About me? I asked. About us? I took a step closer. We can move slow, she nodded. I want slow, but real. I brushed my thumb across her cheek. Real is all I have left. She leaned forward and kissed me again, deeper than the first time. When we pulled apart, she whispered, She thought you'd always be waiting. Not anymore. That night, we decided to go out for dinner as planned. A quiet restaurant near the water, candlelight, soft music. We didn't rush. We talked, we smiled, and every minute, the distance between us shrank. When the check arrived and we stood to leave, everything took a turn. My ex-wife was outside, waiting. She walked toward us, fast. We need to talk. No, I said. She threw a desperate look at Emily. You're choosing him over me? After all these years? Emily stayed calm. You left him. You walked away from your marriage. You celebrated your freedom. You only care now because someone else sees his worth. My ex trembled. I didn't want him gone forever. You should have thought about that, Emily said, before you treated him like furniture. My ex looked at me. Tears finally fell. I miss you. I stared at her with steady eyes. You miss control, not me. She collapsed onto the bench nearby, face in her hands. Emily touched my arm gently. You okay? She whispered. Yeah, I said. For the first time in a long time, yeah. We left, without looking back. The night wasn't loud. No drama, no screaming. Just truth settling into place. Back at Emily's house, we sat on her couch. She held my hand. She's not going to give up easily, Emily said. She doesn't get to decide anything anymore, I answered. Emily rested her head on my shoulder. Warm. Safe. Do you regret this? She asked. I turned to her. No, do you? She smiled, small, soft, sincere. Not for a second. We stayed like that, quiet and close. Not rushed, not confused. Two people rebuilding something that someone else threw away. Outside, the world kept spinning. Inside, a new story started. One built from respect, from kindness, from second chances, and deep down, I knew something powerful. She lost me, and this time, I wasn't coming back. Yes. The days that followed were calm on the surface, but underneath, tension moved like a quiet current. My ex-wife stopped texting, stopped knocking, stopped pretending everything was fine. Silence should have felt peaceful, But silence from someone who never let go of control felt like the warning before a storm. Emily and I continued seeing each other. We kept things steady, no rushing, no hiding. She came over for dinner. We went on walks. We talked about everything. Her loyalty felt different from anything I had known. She listened without interrupting. She cared without needing attention. When I had a bad day at work, she showed up with food and sat with me until the knot in my chest loosened. One night, she said something that stayed in my mind. "You aren't starting over at zero. You are starting from experience." Her voice was soft but strong. She believed in us more than I believed in myself. That belief kept me steady. Then the message came, a text from my ex. One sentence. "We need to talk. Tonight." I showed it to Emily. "She wants you back," Emily said. "You know that." "I know. Are you going?" I nodded. "I'm going to hear her out. Not to fix things, to close doors she keeps opening." Emily stayed quiet for a long moment. Then she nodded. "If she tries to pull you back, tell her no. Not soft. Not gentle. Clean." "I will." She kissed my cheek and left for the night. I waited. I knew my ex would show up soon. She always wanted control in person, not through a phone. Right on time, there was a knock at the door. I opened it. She stood there with makeup smudged, hair tied back, eyes tired. "No pride, no attitude. Can I come in?" she asked. "Yes." She walked inside slowly, as if afraid the floor might reject her. She sat on the couch and stared at her hands. "I have been going to therapy," she said. "I know you do not believe me, but I am trying to understand myself." I sat across from her. "Why are you here?" She looked up. "Because I lost something I thought would always be mine." "You lost me long before the divorce," I said. "You were somewhere else while I slept next to you." She flinched. "I know." We sat in a heavy silence. She gathered herself. "I thought leaving would make me happy," she said. "I wanted noise, attention, excitement. But every night I came home alone, I felt empty. Then I heard about you and Emily, and I felt something I have not felt in years." "Regret?" I asked. "Fear," she whispered. "Fear of losing you forever. Fear of seeing someone else hold your heart. You should have cared when you still had it." She wiped her eyes. "I am not asking for you to take me back. I know I broke us. I know I treated you like a safety net. I know I looked down on your loyalty. But I want one thing." "What?" "A chance to still be in your life." "No," I said. Her breath caught. "No? No friendship. No weekly check-ins. No coffee. No small talk. You do not get access to me anymore." Tears slid down her face. "So that's it?" "That is finally it." She shook her head. "You cannot erase 8 years. You erased them when you walked out smiling." Her voice cracked. "Does she treat you better?" "Yes." "Does she love you?" "I don't know yet. But she respects me." That hurt her more than anything. She pulled a ring from her pocket. Our wedding ring. She placed it on the table. "I kept it because I hoped one day you would want it back." "I don't," I said. She cried harder now, shaking. "I am sorry. For everything. For the nights I ignored you. For talking down to you. For treating you like a backup plan. I thought you would always stay." I stood up. "Everyone leaves when they stop being valued." She looked up at me with pleading eyes. "Please do not hate me." "I don't," I said. "You were a chapter. I am not going to reread it." She covered her face and sobbed. I walked to the door and held it open. "You need to leave." She stood slowly, wiped her cheeks, and walked past me. At the doorway, she turned around. "Does Emily know how lucky she is?" "She tells me every day." My ex nodded, defeated. "I hope she never makes the same mistakes I made." "She won't," I said. "Because she sees me." The door closed. Soft. Final. I locked it and leaned against the wood. I didn't feel triumph. I didn't feel anger. I felt peace. That night, Emily called. "How did it go?" "It's done," I said. For good. There was a pause on the line. Then she whispered, "Come over." I drove to her house. She met me at the door and pulled me into her arms. No words, just warmth. We sat on her couch, wrapped in a blanket, not talking. My head rested on her shoulder while the world outside settled. She ran her fingers through my hair. "You look lighter." "I feel lighter." She kissed my forehead. "Good. You deserve light." I closed my eyes. "Are you scared she will come after you?" Emily shook her head. "She cannot break what she never built." Hours passed. Soft breathing, quiet comfort, peace. When I finally spoke again, my voice was steady. "I don't want to rush anything. I don't want to rebound. I don't want new mistakes." She leaned closer. "Then we won't rush. I want something real." "So do I." I kissed her, slow, honest. When we parted, she took my hand and placed it over her heart. "No secrets," she said. "No lies, no games. Deal." From that night forward, everything changed. Slow, steady, healthy. We spent weekends at the lake. We cooked dinner together. We learned each other's flaws, not through arguments, but through honesty. And every day, the shadow of my old life faded a little more. Months passed. My ex never came back. No texts. No late-night calls. No knocks on the door. She let go because she finally understood something. Losing a marriage is heavy. Losing respect is permanent. One afternoon, Emily and I were at a park sitting under a quiet tree. She rested her head on my shoulder. "Do you ever miss her?" she asked. "No," I said, because what I needed never came from her. She looked up. "What did you need?" "A partner." She smiled and took my hand. "You have one now." I kissed her fingers. "Yeah, I do." We stayed there until the sun dropped. No drama, no fear, just two people starting a new life. And this time, no one was pretending. If you enjoy stories about heartbreak, loyalty, and new beginnings, the next one will be even stronger. And if you want a collection of emotional stories you can listen to anytime, there is a free download waiting in the description. One of those stories might feel close to your own life.